Hello everyone. Today I will going to talk about the global inequality. In the world we have many inequality things. For example, it's like a cake. If someone eats more and the other one will eat less is also the inequality thing. Now I have the global inequality example is the global income inequality, and this is the report. And the report said that the 26 richest people in the world have the wealth of the world's poor 3.5 billion people. This is the terrible data. This is another table is going to say about, for example, Chinese. It have 10% of the population of China. They can get 41% total income, and the other 19% population of the China they only can get 59% total income. And you can think that when you do the job 10 years or many years ago, did you celebration of your salary? The answer also is life harder and harder is a real situation, and it is a still global situation. I have asked two persons their feeling of global income equality. The first person, their feeling is,
I think this inequality may be an economic problem. But why is an economic problem? If someone is rich and someone else is richer, who would mind if all of us was very poor? Isn't it a problem?
And the next person feeling is,
I think it's a big problem. I have the same ability of other people. Why other people can get more money than me?
And I will talk about the extreme poverty vs extreme wealth. How big is the inequality gap? The wealth of the world's billionaires increased 900 US dollar billions in the last year, which is 2.5 billions a day. And last year, 26 people owned the same as the 3.8 billion people who make up the poorest half of humanity. 1. Bomb time for the world's billionaires. It is 10 years since the financial crisis that shocked our world and caused enormous suffering. In that time, the fortunes of riches have raised dramatically. The numbers of billionaires has almost doubled, with a new billionaires created every 2 days between 2007 and 2018. They have now more wealth than ever before, while almost half of humanity have barely escaped extreme poverty, living on less than 5.5 US dollar a day, and only 4 cents in every dollar of tax revenues come from tax on wealth. And in some countries, the poorest 10% are paying a higher proportion of their income in tax than the richest 10. For 2 is the wealth under-taxed. While the richest continue to enjoy booming fortunes, they are also enjoying some of the lowest level of tax in decades, as they are the corporations that they own. Instead, taxes are failing disproportionalities on working people. When governments undertax the rich, there is less money for vital services like healthcare and education, increasing inequality and poverty. And today's 262 million children will not be allowed to go to school. And in Kenya, a proof girl has a 1 in 215 chance of continue her study beyond secondary school.
Hello everyone, my name is Tony. When I was studying global inequality, I found an article an interesting phenomenon. The study constructed a worldwide income distribution from 1970 to 2015 and calculated the corresponding inequality index. They found that the degree of inequality worldwide had a very significant decline in the mid to late 1990s. In addition, the contribution of only one country in China is enough to explain almost all the decline here. It saw us from the early 1970s to the mid-1990s. The worst inequality remained at a level close to 0.7. From the mid to late 1990s to the early 2000s, the Gini coefficient worldwide fell to about 0.6. Since then, inequality has become steady. The article finds that about 4/5 of world inequality comes from inequality between countries, and only about 1/5 comes from inequality within countries. The decline in the world inequality in the past 50 years has mostly come from inequality between countries declining, especially the waste in income in Asia countries. Among them, only China's income change has caused the worst Gini coefficients to fall by about 0.1. It is interesting. China's per capita income has increased, and the world's per capita income has increased slightly. But China's per capita income is too low. It is unequal at all, but it makes the world more equal.
And I am Tommy. When we talk about global inequality, education inequality needs to be addressed. Because of the imbalance between the educational result of big city and small city, in education, the state spends very little on basic education, and limited investment pays resources in big city, so small cities get least educational resources. And because the state has limited resources to invest in education, leading to the state to small countries turn rural areas to invest least resources in education. Therefore, the quality of teachers in small space is also poor. In addition, the rich compare with the poor, who can find better public schools for their children, provide better after-school tutoring, and more children more likely to become so-called adults than children in poor families. And all this led to educational inequality. Take Germany for example. The ratio of the number of private school students to the number of students in public school is about 1:9. Public education is free, including university education, mainly to cover the education, to ensure that students can get basic education. So-called mobility is relatively slow under such an education system, coupled with the so-called adjustment of tax rates. We can build the income gap brought about the classification of education to some extent. But globally, inequality in educational resources is inevitable.